time now for the World Brief and a review of some headlines from today's newspapers. Now, let me tell you what's happening around the world. Now, as Iran and Israel's fighting enters its 6th straight day, US President Donald Trump demands Iran's unconditional surrender and says the US won't kill Iran's supreme leader for now. It's a considerable shift in rhetoric from Trump, which has heightened speculation that America may join the war in support of Israel. Now, it's a prospect that was further underscored by this social media post where Trump says, "We know exactly where the so-called supreme leader is hiding. He is an easy target, but is safe there. We're not going to take him out, kill, at least not for now. But we don't want missiles shot at civilians or American soldiers. Our patience is wearing thin. Thank you for your attention to this matter." Now, Trump then followed up with a second post a few minutes later, writing, "Unconditional surrender," exclamation mark, capital letters. And then some 30 minutes earlier than that one, Trump did say, "We now have complete and total control of the skies over Iran." Now, in response, Iran's supreme leader says the battle begins and vows to show Israel no mercy as Tehran flies 10 ballistic missiles to Israel overnight. Meanwhile, Israel told residents in the southwestern Tehran to evacuate so that its air force could strike Iranian military installations in that area. Iranian news websites also said that Israel was attacking a university linked to Iran's Revolutionary Guards in the east of the capital, Tehran. Now, the Trump administration is also reportedly planning a major expansion of its travel ban policy that could block or restrict entry for Nigeria and 34 other countries. Now, African affected countries are Angola, Benin Republic, Burkina Faso, Cape Verde, Cameroon, Cote d'Ivoire, the Democratic Republic of Congo, Djibouti, Egypt, Ethiopia, Gabon, the Gambia, Ghana, Liberia, Malawi, Mauritania, Niger, Nigeria, Senegal, South Sudan, Tanzania, Uganda, Zambia, and Zimbabwe, as well as Sao Tome and Principe. Now, in the Caribbean, it is Antigua, Barbuda, Dominica, St. Kitts and Nevis, and St. Lucia. And in the Asia-Pacific region, it's Bhutan, Cambodia, Kyrgyzstan, Syria, Tonga, Tuvalu, Vanuatu. And all of these countries are now at risk of being included in this new list of US visa on travel restrictions because of high visa overstaying rates as well as fraud and security risks. All of these being among a list of the reasons given for this move. Now, according to a classified State Department memo, countries targeted in this proposed US travel ban, which of course includes Nigeria now, they've been given up until this morning, 8 a.m. this morning, to submit initial action plans outlining how they will meet tougher identity verification and security requirements. They will then have 60 days to fully comply with the new requirements. Rufai, I'd love to hear your thoughts on these stories. Of course, what we're seeing in Iran, we will get into with our guests, but also the fact that Nigeria and a host of other African countries could now be included in Trump's travel ban list.
Femi, as we speak today, the sovereignty of Iran is threatened. America, in support of Israel, constant bombing is going on. Iran is also retaliating, but like the Americans say, they have the control of the airspace because they have better technology. Israel and Netanyahu keeps perpetrating all of this under the guise of the fact that, they will get up to a point where they can have nuclear weapons and nuclear heads. There was a tape played of Netanyahu in 1996 where he said Iran was weeks away from having a nuclear weapon. In 2015, he said Iran was weeks away from having a nuclear weapon. Some weeks ago, he said the same. So it has shown you that Netanyahu does not say the exact and the correct thing. I am not surprised, because this was also the pretext at which America and the West entered Iraq at that point in time. And we know what happened in that war. The only person that has not boldly come out to tell us and answer the question that if they have nuclear weapons is Israel, which the whole world knows that there's a nuclear program going on there. I am not saying the Iranians had not made their mistakes in the past, but I'm saying let's respect the sovereignty of every nation. And because Israel has a backing in America, does not mean that they can bully everybody in the world. Because it is Iran they are doing it today. If you follow the bad books of America tomorrow, they are definitely going to do it to you. Now there are considerations of attacking more centrifuges. In fact, overnight, they said some centrifuges for uranium enrichment was attacked. And they're saying they are going to attack more overnight. So the bombardment of Iran can continue while everybody folds their hands. Another Arab nation folds their hands because they also have interest and alignment over some issues with America. We are all seeing how hypocrisy goes around the world. A lot of people cannot do anything because it's America. And that's why I go back to Fela's song.
Thank you.
That what is united in United Nation?
There we go. That is the question. Thank you so much, Rufai. Vimbai, I know that we have a guest to talk about this Iran issue. Perhaps you limit your comments to looking at the visa restrictions, and then we can go on to newspapers very quickly.
I actually want to focus on Iran because there's an aspect that we haven't really unpacked, which is the issue of cyber warfare that is unraveling. So what we do know is that over the past 24 hours, Iranian officials have issued a statement saying that they are restricting the use of any electronic connected device. And of course, this is an echo of what we saw happening was it last year or the year prior to that, with that attack from Israel on Hezbollah through the use of pagers. So currently, you're seeing a decline in the use of digital infrastructure for the sake of security within Iran. But besides that attack, that Hezbollah attack that took place recently, there was also Operation Olympic Games that was called in 2010, which is when it's suspected that Israel was supported by the United States to distribute Stuxnet malware. Now, what this malware did is it went into the various computers that supported the centrifuges. So they say that that particular malware, that cyber attack, was able to disable almost 1/5 of Iran's nuclear centrifuges. So for me, it's just important to highlight the fact that besides it being an aerial war, we're now seeing a lot of digital infrastructural attacks. There's a huge scale of cyber war happening as well. So I think for me, that's a major highlight.
Now. Let's start with the front page of This Day. This Day today is, of course, looking at President Tinubu's visit to Benue State. And as we see, and as we've already discussed, the Senate leadership has offered and will be at some point accompanying the president to also commiserate with the people of Yellowater over the recent massacre of their kinsmen by suspected Fulani herdsmen, saying that they are, of course, tired of these killings. In addition to that, Senate Committee Chairman on Media and Public Affairs, as we saw earlier, Senator Adeyemi Adaramodu has disclosed that this is what happened essentially yesterday. This is what all of these different members of the Senate leadership had addressed. They also go on to look at the activities of the Senate. Adaramodu says that they're going to be paying condolence visits whenever there are major attacks. The Senate has also perfected strategies, it says, to end all of these barbaric killings across the country. Now, as the president heads to Benue, another issue he grapples with, according to the New Telegraph this morning, is him at a crossroads, essentially over Kashim Shettima, who is his vice president, amid pressure to drop him. Now, in the background, the likes of National Security Advisor Nuhu Rubadu, as well as Barao Jibrin, who is the Deputy Senate President, they may also be in the running to replace the current Vice President if that occurs. So many things that the President is juggling. And meanwhile, if we look at the Daily Independent, it does lead with the PDP, the People's Democratic Party's National Executive Committee meeting, which is scheduled for the 30th of this month. It is actually facing difficulty to hold. That's because INEC has rejected the party's notice of meeting on the grounds that the notice was not in compliance with the requirement that the national chairman and the national secretary of the party have to jointly sign the notice of convention, congress, conference, or meeting and submit same to the commission. Now, The Guardian this morning reports on the significant decline in the property title registrations as many property owners in Nigeria, particularly in Lagos, are reportedly avoiding obtaining certificates of occupancy due to the complex and lengthy bureaucratic processes involved. This reluctance persists despite the C of O being a crucial document for proving legal ownership, preventing land disputes, and increasing property value. The process is often perceived as being ridden with bureaucracy and potential for corruption. Now, the Vanguard reports on fears of a possible fuel scarcity following a coordinated boycott by petroleum marketers and truck owners protesting against the Lagos State government's enforcement of a controversial 12,500 naira e-call-up levy on trucks operating along the Lekki-Epe corridor.
All right, thank you so much for that, Adefemi Akinsanya.